So another big round for Andy. Here you go.
All right, look at this great crowd here. Thanks everybody for coming out. It's such a beautiful evening, and I feel like the world is conspiring on my behalf. A friend of mine told me recently, Andy, if you follow your dreams and your passion and you go at it with energy, the world will conspire on your behalf, and I feel that's definitely happening. So I really feel thankful. So while I'm giving thanks, I'll say thanks to Linda and Jim Worthington for offering us this space, Jimmy Clendenin for organizing, getting this event together, to my wonderful wife Lisa, who I love, and she's been very supportive of me, and all the people helping the campaign, and it's just been great so far. But before I get started with my speech, we're going to do something a little patriotic here, and I hope you'll join me with this. I'm going to pull out my special gold harmonica, and we're going to do a little tune before we get the festivities started. All right, so ready to go? Something like that.
Wow.
I get nervous when I'm behind the microphone, you know. All right, so the question I get is, Andy, what made you decide to, jump out of your cushy little financial advisor life in Holland, Pennsylvania, and take on the chaos and the busyness and the risk of a congressional campaign? Obviously, it's going to take a huge toll on my business, potentially my family. I don't know what it is going to be. But I prayed about it and I thought about it, and I thought there was too much at stake, and I didn't see anybody standing up to challenge Congressman Fitzpatrick. It was back in May, and I was watching everything that was going on in the world. The left with this crazy lurch towards socialism and this ridiculous obsession with identity politics that I just couldn't take it anymore. And I'm watching Congressman Fitzpatrick, and he's out there playing patty cake with the Democrats, acting like a Democrat, and actively, not supporting the president. In fact, doing more than not actively supporting him, but working against the president. We see our president under attack. They tried to remove him from office with this phony Russia collusion hoax with these people in the FBI and the CIA targeting him. And here we have an FBI corruption specialist who says and does nothing about it. Why is little Andy Meehan, financial advisor in Bucks County, know more about this Spygate stuff and care more about this targeting of the president by these deep state actors than he does? And it seems to me that either he doesn't care about it, or he's got friends in the FBI that he doesn't want to betray. Well, I can't stand by and watch this. So I said, you know what, I got to do something about it. So I was online complaining about it on Facebook one night, and Jimmy Clendenin happened to be on that website, as that Facebook page, as he's been before, while Andy Meehan has been going off on Facebook. Any of you know me on Facebook, you know. I can be outspoken at times. But Jimmy said, well, Andy, you seem pretty passionate about this. Why don't you run? And I'm thinking, I don't know if politics is ready for me or I'm ready for that. But it made me sit back and think about it for a minute. And whenever I have to make decisions in my life, I make a list on the one side about all the things that are going to be good and might be positive about this decision, and then I make a list on the other side and say, what could go wrong here? And the things on the left side that were for me running far outweighed, as from a numerical standpoint, the bad things. Now, the bad things could be pretty bad. Your marriage could break up, your business could break up, bad things can happen. But I talked to Lisa about it, and I prayed about it, and I said, you know what? We need somebody to stand up right now. I'm comfortable behind a microphone. I'm passionate about American values, and I know what I think and feel. And so I'm just going to stand up and do it. And I don't care if I lose. If I lose, I go back to my little financial advisor world, playing in my band in Bucks County like I do, refereeing soccer games, doing all the things that I've been doing in the district for the last 36 years. So I figured, what the hell, I'll take a shot at it, So, being a financial advisor in this district, and I've got clients and people that I work with out there in the crowd tonight, I've worked with all kinds of people in Bucks County, from corporate executives that make many, many, many millions of dollars, right on down to cops and firefighters and self-employed plumbers, you name it, the type of people in Bucks County. I've worked with them. I help them make good decisions with their money, their insurance, their finances. I understand how the policies that come out of Washington, D.C. affect the way that they make money, the way that they budget, plan for the future, invest their money. I'm one of them, okay? I'm a victim of Obamacare like everybody else that's self-employed here. So nobody knows better than me and maybe Bob Ziff about what Obamacare has done to self-employed people. So I feel like I'm connected to the people in the district much more so than my opponent, who spent his entire life in government and was swept in at the last hour by the establishment to fill his seat in because his last name was Fitzpatrick, right? I mean, come on. It's the oldest dirty trick in the political book, right? How do you win in a political election? Find a guy with the same last name as the guy that the people liked before him, and they'll never even know. Well, that's pretty much how it turned out, right? And half the people in Bucks County didn't know it was Brian. It was Fitzpatrick. Okay, yeah, we'll vote for him. Well, now here we are, fast forward a couple years later, and everybody's got buyer's remorse because the first thing that you hear from everybody is, well, Mike was good, but this guy's not like his brother. I mean, that's the first thing you ask when you hear somebody, when you talk to the congressman. And I announced my candidacy on a homemade, handmade cell phone video from my shed on July 4th, which has gotten great acclaim and great ridicule, which I really don't care about. And since then, once I came back from my 2-week trip in Ireland right after that, I've been speaking to Republicans all over the county, hundreds and hundreds of Republicans, and I have not met one Republican, not one, that has told me that they are satisfied with the job that their Republican Congressman Fitzpatrick is doing. Not one. And I'm telling you that we know there's this feeling because we all sense it. We all have a nose for this. People smell what's going on. They know what's going on. And he's not a Republican. He's taking up a space in a Republican chair that could be held by an actual Republican. And so I'm standing up to here to tell everybody that I am a Republican. I'm not afraid to say it in public. You can label me as a Republican, and I'm going to tell you that I support President Trump and his policies. And so that's what my campaign is about: standing up for American values, standing up for what we as Republicans believe in. And so that's what I'm going to do. And from talking to people around the county who are in positions, of political influence and power, all the way down to little people, I've come to the understanding or the conclusion that the only thing propping up Congressman Fitzpatrick's campaign right now is the people in Doylestown who have something to lose by him losing, or all the big donors that are donating to his campaign. I went on, with the help of my campaign strategist a couple weeks ago, to the FEC website, Federal Election Commission, and I downloaded a report of all the donations that were coming into the Fitzpatrick campaign. And the congressman raised $426,000 in the second quarter of 2019. Little Andy Meehan from Holland Bucks County, financial advisor. Since when I announced my campaign on July 4th through like the end of July, we raised like $3,000 maybe, okay? Which was great, not nearly enough, but a good start. Would you believe that with my little $3,000 bank account, I have more individual donors from PA District 1 with my little $3,000 bank account than Congressman Fitzpatrick has with his entire $426,000 cash haul from big corporations, lobbyists, and people from out of the district. So I'll stick with the people in PA District 1 and all your little donations and every person at the voting box rather than all this money that's coming into Congressman Fitzpatrick. So what we get from the establishment in Bucks County is, well, we need to keep this seat R. We need to keep it in Republic hands. And this is what they told us after the Dean Malik primary about 16 months ago that I worked on with some of the people in the group here. And after the Malik primary, Congressman Fitzpatrick made a real hard left turn and started coming out with all these liberal policies that, made him look even more like a Democrat than he was. And I stood up and said no about it. And I said, we're just fed up with it, And I've been called, angry and disloyal, okay? And I think about that, and I'm like, angry and disloyal. Well, that presumes that we have nothing to be angry about. Oh, he's angry and disloyal, right? We do have something to be angry about, okay? Our congressman doesn't stand up for the values and the principles that Republicans stand for. And we get with the establishment telling us to hold our nose. You all heard it, right? Hold your nose and vote for Fitzpatrick in the 2018 election, right? Who didn't hear it, right? You got to get in line and you got to go. You got to be loyal, right? Well, the last time I checked, loyalty is a two-way street, okay? If our party's not going to be loyal to the things we believe in, our values, then we're not the ones being disloyal. They're the ones being disloyal, okay? So I'm gonna be loyal to our principles. I'm gonna stand up for the things I believe in. I'm not gonna stick my finger up in the wind and decide, we got this bill in front of the Congress here, and the Democrats have 20 more votes than what they need, so my vote's really kind of a throwaway vote, so I'm gonna vote this way to pander to the other side. And this is what the congressman does. He plays little games with his votes and panders to the other side. Okay? I'm not going to make big promises to everybody because it's bad to make big promises, but I will tell you something. I'm a very principled person, and I am going to vote with my conscience and my values, and I'm not going to go down there and say, they've got 20 more votes than we need. My vote's a throwaway vote, so I'm going to vote with them just so I can curry favor with somebody. Ain't happening. Not going to do it. I'm not going to play that game. So let's just make that real clear. All right, let's get to the heart of the matter here. A few weeks ago really was the straw that broke the Fitz's back. We saw Congressman Fitzpatrick in a disgraceful display, joining with 3 other rhino Republicans, standing up and voting to censure the president as a racist because he stood up for these ungrateful, crazy women on the left, AOC and Ilhan Omar and Nancy Pelosi. He stood up to them, okay, and told them if they don't like America, they can go back to where they came from, make it all better, and then come back to America, and told us how that worked out. And they called him a racist, and Congressman Fitzpatrick stood up with them and voted to call our president. Let's have a show of hands. Who thinks President Trump is a racist here? Anybody? Well, any takers? Oh, we don't have any takers. Oh, wow. Imagine that. Right? Another show of hands. Who thinks that we should pay for transgender sex reassignment surgeries for people in the military? Everybody on board with that? How about it? Come on. Oh, not that either. Well, gee, that's a real shocker, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, anyway, I'm going on a little bit long here. I don't want to go on too long, but I just want to make sure that everybody knows that loyalty is a two-way street, okay? I have a higher loyalty than what's going on in Doylestown with the Bucks County Republican Committee. Okay, I can work with the Republican establishment, and I think they'd be good to get me on their team because I'm going to be an asset to the team, because I'm going to bring the voters who actually want something different. Okay, and the voters actually matter. All right, I answer to a higher loyalty than the Bucks County Republican Committee, and I would tell them that they need to get in line with their voters, listen to their voters, and get on board and not be an obstruction to me and my campaign. Do I think they're going to support my campaign? I hope they do. I am totally expecting that they will give me no help and use all the money and everything they have to back Congressman Fitzpatrick because he's their guy and they want to keep it Republican. It's not Republican, and that's why we're here. We're going to fight for our values. We have a higher loyalty, and I'm here to tell you guys that I am going to fight. Everybody who knows me I'm a fighter. I've been punching above my weight since I was 5 years old. I'm not going to stop. I won't be cowed. I won't be silenced, and I will stand up for you, and I will not let you down. So I thank everybody. Really great night. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. We've got flyers on the table. We'd love to have your information. You can go to my website at meehan2020.com and sign up to volunteer. Send some money to the campaign so we can fight this fight. We're going to need some money to buy signs and buy ads and do all the other things that we need to do to win. But I'm in this thing to win. I'm not in this thing to be a disruptor. I'm in this thing to give the voice to the people who are sick and tired and fed up of being spoon-fed stuff out of the Republican Party in Bucks County, and I'm the alternative. So we got a question in the back. I'll take a question. Sure, why not?
Hey, great. I just wanted to know how last term, Mr.
Hold on a second. I got the wireless mic here so we can move.
Dean ran against them. How was your campaign going to be different? Because I want to win this time. You know what I mean?
Well, I think Dean was a good candidate. There was a couple things with the Mallet campaign. Number one, it was an in-between election, so the president wasn't going to be on the ballot. The president is going to be on the ballot this time. It will be a more motivating factor for Bucks County Republicans to come out in support of somebody who's going to be a Republican on the ticket instead of somebody else. So that's number one. The other thing is that since the Mallet election, as you know, you've been paying attention, right? There's a lot more that the congressman has done between the Dean Mallet primary and now. We've got a good 14, 15 months of him with a terrible voting record since then, and he has been flushed out in the past 2 months between no money for the wall, the transgender, so-called Equality Act, how it's equal for transgender men to compete on the sporting field with women. I don't see how that's equal, okay? And then, this thing with him siding with these crazy women calling the president racist. People where they were willing to give him the benefit of the doubt before, that's all gone. And so things are a little bit different now.
I'm 100% behind you, man. I'm going to work for you, and we're going to win this thing.
Well, thank you so much.
All right.
Another question here, sure.
Yep, I have Dave Parker. I have a question. Where do you stand on the Second Amendment? If you can go down like a little litany.
Yeah.
Second Amendment, the abortion issue,
Yep.
and things like that.
Okay. All right, so the big issues, right? So let's talk about the Second Amendment. I'm not down with these red flag laws and these extended background checks until the government starts enforcing the laws that we already have on the books, and they can show me a way that we can keep guns out of the hands of crazy people that shouldn't have them without depriving law-abiding citizens the rights that are enshrined in our U.S. Constitution, then no go on that with me. I think there's work to be done. I think a conversation needs to be had about how we keep guns out of the hands of the people that shouldn't have them. But every time one of these big mass shootings happens, it's a very emotional thing. And people want to do something right away, right? Well, when we look at these things objectively, the number of people, and it's horrible, and you don't want to see it, that are murdered in these horrific mass shooting events is a minuscule amount of people that are killed in this country every month in the cities of Chicago and Baltimore, all over the country. And nobody seems to want to do anything about that. These cities are no gun zones, and all these murders are going on there. So putting back on the rights, constitutional rights of citizens without due process is something that I'm very worried about. And we'll tie something else into that. We're going to tie something else into that. After 9/11, all right, we put into place this Patriot Act. And the Patriot Act was put into place to make sure that foreign terrorists could not attack Americans. Remember that? And we passed this law to increase the power of surveillance in the government. What did we get out of that? We got an expanded surveillance state, and now they've turned these powers that we gave them against us and against our president as part of this whole cabal, this coup attempt. And between the abuse of the FISA court and the FISA laws and the FBI and the CIA with their expanded surveillance powers, I am very suspicious of expanding the power of the federal government. In fact, it needs to be cut back. I think the FBI and the CIA need to be trimmed back in their power. And I'm going to Washington not to go along and get along with these people. I want power returned to the states and the counties and the municipalities, where people that can walk into somebody's office and say, hey, I don't like what you're doing. You can't do that to Brian Fitzpatrick's office. You call him, you get no callbacks. He's down in Washington. You got no power. When the power is closer to the people have more power, so we're going to do that. All right, now we'll get on to the abortion issue, okay? Here's my feelings on this issue. My campaign manager is wetting his pants over there and seeing if I'm going to say something that he doesn't like, but I'm going to tell it to you right from the heart, and I'm going to tell everybody the same thing, okay? The place we are today in the United States is that there is no federal law that was ever passed that gave the government the right to deny or grant people the right to have an abortion. Our U.S. Constitution states very clearly that in the absence of a law, okay, it is a states' rights issue. Roe v. Wade was an unconstitutional jumping of the guardrails by an activist Supreme Court, and it should have been shoved back down to pass a law or let the states decide where it was. So from a constitutional standpoint, where we are now is a states' rights issue. Now people will say, well, where do you stand personally, Andy, on this? Well, personally, I'm a pro-life kind of guy, but I also have libertarian leanings, all right? So if you want to make abortion legal or make it illegal, you got to go through the Congress and you got to pass a law that says it is such that, okay? And that is a big deal. If you try to pass a law in America today that outlaws abortion under any circumstances, the gold standard would be that life begins at inception. I'm telling you, there is zero chance that we will pass a law to ban abortions, okay? It's just not happening. So the next standard is what? Why do you determine when somebody's alive? Well, maybe we should look at how you determine when somebody's dead. How do we determine that? When their heart stops beating, right? So it would seem to me that any type of legislation that's actually going to have a chance of having any chance of passing has to start with a baby's heartbeat. Then you got a problem, right? You know what your problem is? A lot of women don't even know they're pregnant by the time the baby's heart beating. Are you going to tell them they can't have an abortion too? I'm not going to tell them that. I don't think that they should have an abortion. I think that they should find other ways. But we have a constitution. We got a country that's a country on laws. So they should, if you want something to change, you got to pass a law, and it's going to have to deal with that. And I'll leave it at that. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I think this speaks to a much larger issue. The Hasidic community that had the measles outbreak, they were all, they
Can't hear you.
They came in here to the country, I believe, as either migrants or refugees or something. The other item is to curb all of these communicable diseases that we're dealing with that may prompt new vaccines and so forth. Let's get a handle on the immigration.
Exactly.
The immigrants are bringing in the diseases.
Yep.
Ebola, sub-Saharan Africa.
So let's talk about the immigration issue. Some of the things that came up on this discussion about the vaccines and diseases. We have situations in California right now where medieval diseases are resurfacing, and it's a result of uncontrolled illegal immigration from places in the world where these diseases are obviously still getting out and around. So the one thing that Congressman Fitzpatrick has been obstructionist on is he has given zero, not $1. He sided with Democrats over and over and over again to oppose the building of a physical border on the southern border. If he doesn't want to say wall because it's a toxic word to the congressman, I will say wall. I think what's shown over the past few years is that we need a secure border on the southern border. We need a wall to stop this uncontrolled immigration. We should have a big gate in the wall, and we get to decide who comes in and who doesn't based on what the needs of the American people are and what we decide. And we can't be the world's policeman, the welfare state, and open borders and be exporting jobs and have the middle class Americans paying for all this stuff. This is why our middle class has been gutted for the past 20 years, and we're going to shut that down. We're going to take care of American workers first. We're going to take care of taxpayers first. We're going to take care of our children, our country, our values, and once we've got that border secure, then we can start talking about how we're going to deal with all the people in the country that are here illegally. You start doing this stuff before that border's secure, it's just a magnet and encouragement for more illegal immigration, and we don't need that right now. The congressman was down on the border last week bemoaning the fact that there was overcrowding at detention centers. If you saw his Facebook posts and all the information he was putting out, he was down there saying that there was overcrowding on the border. Well, no kidding, Congressman, because you've been whittling and diddling for 2 years fighting against funding for the border wall. We had the presidency, the Senate, and the House of Representatives in 2017 and 2018 after Trump was elected, and we could have done something about this then to secure the border and prevent this overcrowding and this abuse of asylum laws on our southern border. But the congressman sided with the Democrats over and over again against the border wall funding, and so now he goes down there to inspect these overcrowded detention centers, and he can see the impacts of his failed policy. He owns the issue, and it's pegged on the congressman. It's his fault, and partially his fault. And I'd just like to see how he's going to wiggle it out, explaining away the problem that he helped to create. So that's that. Any other questions I can answer?
How you doing? Thanks for coming and talking. Great speech. But just in a nutshell, do you consider yourself a constitutional conservative or a Republican?
Thank you. I would more closely identify as a constitutional conservative than a Republican. I call myself a Republican because I think Republicans really at heart should be constitutional conservatives, but it doesn't always work out that way. But I would call myself a constitutional conservative first, yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks everybody. We're going to wrap it up. I'll be here to talk and mingle, after I put the microphone down and we put some music on. I really appreciate everybody coming out. You can get in touch with me or my campaign staff if you'd like to talk to me personally. If you'd like to arrange for a meet and greet at your home or your church or your business, I'm happy to come out and answer any and all questions, just like I've done tonight. And I appreciate everybody coming out. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. As Andy said, you stay around, chat with each other. There's no curfew here. Well, we do close at 11. But you're all adults, there's no curfew.
But you have pool.
I have full. But I ain't keeping it open past 11. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Andy, and all of your crew. And we will be in touch. Make sure that I have your email. And good night, everybody.